Welcome everybody to another AusDraft 2.0 series. We've got Team Noszombie versus Team Socksyy. This match was played a little while ago, but we are casting the Rex so that we can, get the good series all up onto YouTube. For Team Nos, we've got the Romans on the front as Trace. With Trace, sorry. He is a bit of a lamer boy. He's building an outpost instantly, which is a little suspicious, if I'm being honest. He does instantly steal some sheep, and he's going to get a boar right off the rip, it looks like. Yep, he gets one boar and then another. Oh, well, he's going to come back for this boar. Oh, that's okay. Wrong villager, but that's fine. He can come down here and lame these deer as well, potentially, if he wants to. He's not. Okay, he's going to head back that way. I want to introduce the players, but there's too much laming shenanigans going on, so we'll come back to that later, I think. He's going to loop around this wood line. What does he see? He knows the deer are there. I'm not sure why he's going around the long way instead of just legging it straight there to try to kill as many as possible, as quickly as possible. Romans also don't get demos. Yeah, because they have some decent dock bonuses, I believe. So they end up missing the demos. Because I think otherwise their galleons would be too strong if they're not weak to fires, so they take away demos so that they sort of get wrecked by fast fires. So there's a little bit of counterplay. Is he gonna lame a pocket boar? Potentially. Trace is just going all in. He hasn't seen the deer, but he's very, very close to them, so it's quite likely that he can jump over there and get them at some point. He does still see that boar. He's not Goths, unfortunately, so he doesn't kill the boar as quickly as possible. But he's got two vills here. Oh, this is just brilliant. Trace is just being an absolute pain in the neck, laming as many players as possible. Blue, Mr. Kekkers, the Koreans, is going to really struggle to get up to feudal age when he's minus a boar, minus two sheep, and minus a bunch of deer. And he also last hits the boar with his scout so that you can't gather food from it. Which is oh, and he's also going to lane for more deer. I think that Socksy's team is massively underreacting to this lame. Like, you can't just let these villagers wander all the way up your team and continue wrecking people. Because, like, potentially we're going to see Noodle lose a boar as well. If we're not careful here. And, like, there's even no attempt at a counter lame. There's 4 sheep just sitting here, free to be taken if anybody tried to lame Trace in return. Because maybe didn't pass on info. I mean, Brady's didn't either. Like, he saw his boar and his deer get lamed, so I think that there's many players who are not communicating correctly at this time for this to be the situation. He's just seen the deer as well, but he's really trying to protect his scout for some reason. I don't think that's relevant. Just keep killing the deer. Killing the deer is enough to give your team a massive advantage at this point. And also, Trace has done a really good job at not idling his TC. Only having the 14 seconds of idle time is pretty decent, considering you're this incredibly all-in on the lane. Also, walling. Oh, you're not allowed to attack walls, Mr. Trace. If he does that again, he might actually end up getting a admin loss for this game, if he's not careful. You're not allowed to attack walls in the enemy base, but you can attack walls that are in your base. Socksyy has pushed all of his deer and taken his boar, so there's not really anything that can be lamed from the pocket. But Trace has just done a brilliant job at, affecting 3 players on the team. That is a solid mill position, though, getting the berries and the deer. Brady's deer, I mean, I guess the mill is okay, but he's going to have to build another one at some point. Which is going to slow down his archer play. Not allowed to attack walls. There is a player in the Oz community called Fayley who essentially does all-in Vill Rush a lot of the time, where they'll send like 4 villagers to your base with Loom, and then just deny your lumber camp by fighting you off it, and then walling it in. And then, destroying your buildings and whatnot with his villagers with crazy lames. And that is not fun for the lower-rated players to play against, and it is also a way to massively boost the value of a low-rated player, right? If you just have, a 1,000 rated player, just full Vill Rush, the strongest player in the game, you're not going to kill them, but you're going to slow them down enough that they're going to get damaged by some other player who comes in to help out later. So, it's my understanding, at least. I'm not one of the admins, but my understanding is that it's a way to try to keep the game fun and entertaining for everybody, and not just be stuck with silly all-in um, shenanigans. Does Brady have Loom? He must have Loom. Yeah, he does. Socksyy's mill is too close to farm round. Oh, feels bad, man. You misses out on the farm. Hey, sounds familiar. Yep. Exactly. So if we just quickly flick through the players, we've got Trace here as the Romans, supported by Schnecki as the Italians, then we have Sneaky Salmon as the Slavs, and then Noz at the back as the Bohemians. Now, we've seen this before. Noz is just going to boom up to Imperial Age and then make Battle Elephants, while the rest of the team makes as much army as possible to allow him to get to Imp without dying, basically. Does Trace just try to get the Vills back? I would say yes. I would say that you've done enough laming as possible. You potentially stay here to like build sneaky towers on wood lines, or you just go home and sort out your own macro. For the other team, though, as we said, we've got Kekas on the front as the Koreans, who is potentially going to Trush, but he's also on gold, so we're going to see maybe just archers from Kekas. Then we have Brady as the Bohemians, doing archers as well. We've got Noodle as the Khmer, going for scouts. And then Socksyy as the Saracens, who is dropping a barracks. So we're potentially going to see some knights or camels from Socksyy before he transitions into a big boom. Which I think that's fair enough. I think it has some decent value doing that. I'm not really sure what this house is for. Double range because Saratinga minutes. Oh, true. True indeed. There are other stones, and we're instantly seeing Keka's rotting up on his gold and his stone, and that also somewhat protects his woodline. His berries, though, are very not safe, but there is actually more army, out on the field for Socksyy's team at the moment. I'm not sure if Trace is going to get this tower up. I guess he is the Roman, so he does build faster. But there are, for the time being, more scouts and more archers, but there are some reinforcements coming in right now. Oh, just sending all the Vills, getting them involved in the fight, and then all of a sudden it goes back their way. This tower is going to go up, but it's only going to deny, barely 200 food worth of berries, which is, it's a little bit painful, but it's not the end of the world. He's already gathered most of the food. But the big issue for me, he's getting forced back. Green and blue, they're microing the archers pretty well to try to deny this tower, and the Vills are getting involved bashing it down, but it does look like it's going to go up. And the risk here, I think, is that Tracer starts to chain towers forwards, right? You build another tower over here next to the berries, and then a tower here next to this gold, and then you deny Brady's berries as well, and it gives you this nice corridor to move your army up and down that was a town bell, in relative safety. Oh, but yellow is just walking into a bunch of archers. Oh. Yeah, you can't rod someone who's already been rodded, Trace. I'm sorry, that's not going to work out. Maybe he just builds the tower in front of his berries to defend himself so that he can take the food. Maybe deny some farms, potentially. But Castle Age is on the way for Mr. Noz. We're not seeing very many walls at all, just like the front line that we saw in the previous match between Saladin and Liam. And Socksyy is also up to Castle Age. He's got a market coming up, he's got a stable. He hasn't done any stable upgrades or armor or bloodlines or anything along those lines. And then we did see that Trace is trying to snake the towers forwards, but there's just not enough army to support him right now. And his Vills, he's lost a couple there already, and he's going to lose at least another one or two before he gets back to the safety of his tower. My important stuff is walled, TCs defend the rest ease. What do you mean the important stuff is walled? This woodline is entirely open. This gold is entirely open. The berries are entirely open. Imagine if Noodle just sent 2 scouts to your base. I mean, I guess you probably got Loom. Yeah, you do have Loom. So I guess maybe it's not the end of the world. I do like the instant monastery as well. Pick up a couple of the relics early before there's too much shenanigans going on the field. And then giving you that slow passive gold boost for the rest of the game. I am the most important of stuff. Ah, is that how it is? Yeah, right, like... Even like you're about to overchop your woodline as well. This is recorded games. They played at the same time as Saladin versus Liam. So, obviously, you can only cast one match or the other. So we started with that match, and then now we are casting this one. Now that they are both finished. We do see the early knights though from Socksyy does actually give a very significant army swing in their favor. Like they've already got two players making archers, one player making scouts, and now just even a handful of knights completely counters any sort of feudal army that we do see. And we do actually see armor coming in for those knights as well, so they're not too worried about scouts as well. Oh, sorry, scouts, archers is the word I'm looking for. Shneki going for a third range. Never going feudal, it seems. Just all in three range archers? That seems a little bit sus to me. I mean, I guess that they've recognized that both blue and green are making archers, so maybe they say, okay, we just need more archers on the field to try to match their archer numbers, which does make sense to some degree. But the issue is that two players making archers is easier than one player making archers, in theory, because one of them should be able to cut production at some point and then just go up to Castle Age. We do see a nice surround, though, from CK7, getting in the back, blocking in blue and green's archers. Unfortunately, Chineki is not really getting involved with his archers at the moment. Actually, Noz is coming forward with his monk to try to get some conversions off on the knights. But yeah, he needs to bail, get towards Trace's TC. Trace needs to garrison in his tower and the TC. But we do see Shneki's now completely off his berries, so like, there's absolutely no chance he's ever getting to a competitive castle each time with the 3 ranges and no access to berries. And honestly, remember, they do have the Saracen bonus for their archers. So they could just sit here and kill these archery ranges if they wanted to. On the front side, we've got some stone walls coming up from Trace. He's going to secure the top side at least so that they can have some space to boom in later on. This wall here is quite nice. But I think they've recognized, okay, we're falling too far behind in the army counts. We need Trace to get involved as well. A handful of towers, you know, it's done some damage, but it's not quite enough at this stage of the game. So he's going to support the team with his own archers, it looks like. Normally I would say maybe he wants to go Castle Age first, but he's actually just going to do skirms. I don't know if skirms is the right play. Like, there's knights and quite a few scouts out on the field. And we see here the scouts are actually getting... Oh, I was going to say they're getting pretty good value, but the extra armor on the monks is actually a huge pain in the ass to kill them. They take a long time to die. They're not getting that many conversions, though, and the army count for Socksyy's team is pretty significant already. Like, 13 extra army at minute 20 is pretty solid. We do obviously see the Vil lead for Mr. Noz. 3TC booming straight off. Socksyy has expanded up to 3TCs himself, but he is 7 Vils behind at this stage. I'm playing scouts, boys. I mean, if you convert enough scouts, I guess you are. You're playing monks and knights at the moment, it seems. And like, yeah, this exact wall was what I was hoping to see earlier. But because of the overchop and this just honestly horrible lumber camp, these knights could actually get in here and kill a bunch of villagers. Does Socksyy see it, though? He sees this one villager. He doesn't quite notice the woodline, unfortunately. Missing out on a prime opportunity to deny this TC. Socksyy, oh, not Socksyy, Noz reacts perfectly, dropping up some walls. Even walling behind this TC to make sure the knights don't dive past him. Back on the front lines. I like this wall from Trace. Securing his woodline a little bit, preventing them from just running in there. They can obviously shoot over the walls, but he can move back to this woodline at some point if he needs to. Favorite moment from this set? Well, this set has only just started, so I can't really comment on that just yet. If you mean from your previous set, from Saladin versus Liam, honestly, it's probably Lawmeister's towers on frontline. Sure, don't spoil other set, please. Okay. Hopefully that wasn't a spoiler. Watch out for the towers. They are... they're funny. No previous set spoilers? Okay. I mean, I can understand for Noz's team not having seen it, but for everybody else, if you've already watched this series, then you should just go watch the VOD already and come back later, right? And like, even for Noz, like, you played this set, you don't need to watch me cast it. You can go back and watch that one instead if you want to. Oh, and these knights are picking off reinforcing monks. Pretty nice move there. And we've actually a forward monastery as well from Noz. He's recognized, hey, Bengali monks, I need to do something to help my team. I wanted to catch one of the sets live. Ah, fair enough. So I can shitpost in the chat. I mean, you can shitpost and talk crap about you and your team if you want to, but oh my lord, Kekkers, you've got idle villagers for days. He is up to Castle Age, though. Everyone's on the way up to Castle Age, or in Castle Age already, which is pretty nice. Taking this fight underneath the tower was probably not the best move right there, and Brady just not paying attention, letting the army jump on top of his archers. He's going to lose his entire mass, or not most of his mass, just before it's Castle Age, which is a little bit unfortunate. We do start to see Noodle adding in the knights, though, now that she's in Castle Age. And actually, is Noz going to make Castle Age battle elephants? This isn't the strategy. This is not the strategy. You're supposed to just boom for Imperial Age elephants. I don't like this. Go back to the normal strat. Don't make changes. Don't adapt to the situation. Just blindly do one thing over and over and hope that it works. But I think that battle elephants are going to be a bit tricky to deal with. I guess there is a potential for Socksyy to get a lead. He's close to clicking Imp, to be honest. Like, if he cancels +2 armor and just sells a little bit of food and sells some food, sells some wood, he's up to Imp, and he can start making Mamelukes pretty fast. Which would do okay against the elephants until there's a big mass of the Mamelukes. We do see a 5th TC being added up here. Once again, traces walls across this top side. Absolutely brilliant, allowing any player to expand out here to the top side if they want to. Oh boy, and now the elephants are starting to roll forwards, and I'm assuming that Socksyy's team is yelling, holy shit, they're making battle elephants, what do we do? Is he up to Imperial Age already, and he started to make the army on the way up? That would be my worry. If I was Socksyy and like I'd done a bit of strategy prep and I'd watched the previous games, Noz didn't do anything until Imperial Age, basically. So seeing these elephants might indicate that he's, you know, halfway to Imp or something. But they're such big, fat, tanky boys. They don't care at all. And, oh, we see another town bell from Kekkers. Definitely not the, just walking under the TC like you don't give a shit. Oh, not having crossbow is definitely rough. And, oh, here comes a forward castle from Trace. Remember, Romans do build buildings 5% faster. The, counter tower. Well, I think it's not really a counter tower. He didn't know that the castle was there. Just a defensive tower to secure his farms. But it looks like Kekkers is in a world of pain. His TC is basically just going to get destroyed by elephants and knights, even if the castle wasn't going to destroy it. Preemptive counter tower, exactly. Noz's monks, if he's not paying attention, might get sniped here. Oh, no, never mind. Those are Schnecky's crossbows. I thought that was the enemy just marching up to him. Like, why is he not doing anything? But here's the enemy down here. And the castle is definitely going up. Kekkers doesn't have any villages away from his base, as far as I can tell. They're all in the TC, the tower, or over here building another tower. So he almost needs to delete a house and run some villas backwards somewhere, I think. So that he can not get defeated. We do see, though, Imperial Age is just about to hit for Mr. Socksyy. He's got Mamelukes on the field to play, and more being created. And we do see Trace now starting to expand with TCs, and he has basically finished the full stone wall across the map to completely secure Team Noz from any sort of raids. We see Noz's monks getting involved, trying to do some conversions. The crossbows, the skirms, the elephants there just marching forwards. And it seems like, I mean, Purple is still making a decent number of knights, but he's also 3 TC booming, so he's in a pretty solid position. The question is, are they going to be able to stop the Saracen Imperial Age army? Because Mamelukes are pretty good against elephants, because they've got melee range damage, they've got extra bonus versus the cavalry. The biggest issue might be the decent mass of skirms, crossbows, and monks. But we see that Noz is now on the way up to Imp. Does he stick with battle elephants, or does he make a switch to elephant archers potentially? And we do see the evacuation starting to happen for poor Kekkers. Not in a very nice position, to be honest. You believe in the Socksyy. You gotta believe in the Brady and Noodle combo. They can do anything if they set their mind to it. I like this castle from Socksyy down here on the bottom side. It helps secure, you know, your eventual trade line and this gold and the stone potentially. There are some crossbows though from Schnecky down here. But we see that markets are being set up really fast. Why are these markets one tile away from the wood line? And why is this market one tile away from the wood line? You're just getting less gold in that case. You're missing out on however much gold you get for every tile. Which is not ideal. We see Elite Mameluke though starting to come in. But no markets at all, and there's actually 2 knights and a couple of crossbows on both sides to potentially deny any villagers that are going out to build markets. And considering that the trade line is so poor on this map because it's quite a short map, quite shrunken in, you need to start trading early because if you're not on time with your trade, you just all of a sudden run out of gold completely, and you can't afford to start making trade because it takes 2 or 3 times as long to start paying off as it does on a normal map. We see that Noz is actually dropping archery ranges, so we're going to see the Elephant Archer switch, which makes, I mean, I think that that's the correct decision against this many Mamelukes. And I guess then the answer from Socksyy would be to switch into Onagers, potentially. This Noz team seems to get the team stuff pretty good. Walls, stop any trade, etc. A team to watch in my unbiased opinion. I mean, you can be biased or you can not be biased. I definitely think that they do that very well. I definitely agree with that. We see that Kekkers is trying to do his bit for the team. He's rebuilding his TC over on this wood line, spending some stone on some walls. Like, he's just so incredibly out of the game, there's not much that he can do, unfortunately. But I think that if anyone's able to sling him a little bit of food or wood, like Noodles, well, Socksyy's the only one that's an imp, so he's actually the only one who's able to sling, and he's basically bottomed out on everything. He's like fully committing to securing the map, essentially. But Kekkers needs to get extra TCs as quickly as possible. Oh, but there's a raid from purple coming in. Poor Kekkers! The man's got so few villages, you can't be in here killing even more of them. And the knights are going to continue to roam backwards, it seems. Socksyy is potentially thinking about building markets, or maybe he wants an extra TC on a wood line. There is some gold here that he does actually see with his outpost. So he's probably going to... Yeah. That's it, exactly. Good play there from Socksyy. The elite Elephant Archers, though, actually get absolutely shredded by the Mamelukes if he doesn't have enough numbers. And even these monks and crossbows are having a rough time. Mamelukes are just such a powerful unit. They've got, like, relatively high HP for a ranged unit. They've got pretty good damage. They've obviously got all the bonus damage versus cavalry. The biggest issue is their low range. Which means they have to walk right up to the enemy to actually deal any damage. Socksyy got some trebs on the way. And we do see that Noodlebox is on the way up to Imperial Age. Whereas no one else on Team Noz is up to Imp. They've got a huge Vill lead. 120 Vills at the moment. But a lot of that is simply the fact that Kekkers is massively behind. Right, like almost... maybe half of that Vill count is pretty much purely on Kekkers. Because Schnecky doesn't have massive Vill count. He's only recently added these extra TCs on the top side. But we do see the trade starting to be created nice and early, which is, I think, a really good decision. Playing for the long game? Well, actually, I'm not sure about that. Because I think that these civs for Team Socksyy should absolutely destroy if we get to the late game. We've got Bohemians for Helbs and Hoofnies and hand cannons. We've got Koreans for Helbs and SO. We've got Khmer for Cavalier into Battle Elephants. And their Battle Elephants are pretty similar to Bengalis. They're actually slightly better in most cases, I would say. And then obviously you have the insane post-imp power. The powerhouse that is the Saracens with Mamelukes and SO. Whereas you've obviously got Bengalis for Noz, which are pretty decent, but they're very limited. They can only really make elephant units. You've got Slavs, which are a help siege civ, which is pretty nice, but might have troubles against the Hoofnies from the Bohemians. And then both the Italians and the Romans, I think, don't add as much once you get into the super late game. As we were saying earlier in the previous match, actually, that Italians are pretty good for frontline in late Castle Age to early Imp when you start to get a decent mass of Genbos. But then, once you get to post-Imp and people start having a big mass of SO out on the field, the Genbos just get absolutely shreked if they're not paying attention. I think that, honestly, if Socksyy just made oh, he's got 4 trebs, so there's 2 more trebs walking forwards in some position. And I think that just the huge army lead that Socksyy's team has right here, they should be able to roll through this forward position pretty quickly if they wanted to. I don't think trying to kill Noz's trebs is the correct decision, though. I think you should just kill the castle, and then kill the walls, and then get in, right? You've got Cavalier with +4 armor, you've got a bunch of Mamelukes, you just need to get inside and fight their army. You don't want to be stuck outside these walls just sitting here waiting and giving them time to hit Imperial Age. We see that everybody except Schnecky is on the way up to Imperial Age. We're gonna see Romans, I assume, gonna do like Helms and maybe Scorpions. It looks like we're also gonna see Helms from the Slav player. So we're gonna see double Helms, potentially. Maybe Legionnaires could be a play. Should trip trees so that the Cavalier can raid. I mean, that would also be an option. I think killing the castle would be my first priority, and then killing a gate. Or maybe you kill the gate and then the castle. Something along those lines. So that you can just get in here, use your army advantage, go kill villages. Because you're 200 vills behind almost, but you're 60 to 70 army ahead. You need to do something in the next, 5 minutes before the insane eco lead, the insane trade lead that we also see coming up right now, becomes insurmountable. Like, we see markets are only now being set up. But also, Nos has had a bunch of relics for quite a long time. Like, if we, quickly just jump into the economy tab. Nos has already gotten 1,000 free gold from relics, and that's just going to keep on increasing. Nos is going for heavy monks and elephant archer play right here. I mean, both sides kind of kill the other one pretty quickly, but as soon as these Cavalier get in front to start tanking for the Mamelukes, I think that they should be in a really good position. And should be, yeah, I think that this is a great situation to be in for Team Socksyy. Yeah, like, there's so many elephant archers. Like, the elephant archers are incredibly tanky, but their DPS is not that amazing for the type of unit now. We do see onagers, though, coming out for Sneaky Sam and needing to get big hits in on the Mamelukes or the crossbows before they hit Imperial Age. But the castle has gone down. We're about to see another castle fall. The elephant archers are just marching forwards. Kekis is continuing to layer walls on this top side. On the bottom side, Noodle is doing the same thing. Great job for the team. It's unfortunately not fully walled to the middle, though, is the big issue. Like, there's the potential for knights to always go raiding through any of these holes in people's bases. But there isn't really anyone that's making a fast mobile cav unit. We've got Helms, we've got more Helms, we've got crossbows, and we've got elephant archers. So the lack of mobility for Team Nos may come back to hurt them later in the game. We see Trace also making a ram, potentially going to go siege rams. I believe that Romans do get siege ram. And we see just an absolute crap ton of markets being built. They recognize, oh balls, we're going to run out of gold soon. We need to start making trade before it's too late. And I'm afraid that it might actually be too late. There's 60, 85, close to 90 trade already for Team Nos, and you've only just started to make your first trade cards. You got 13 for Noodle, that's it. The onagers and the elephant archers and the helms are pretty solid. We see more barracks being built. I feel like Sneaky should just not even bother making helms at this point, right? I mean, your helms are slightly better once you get your unique tech for splash damage than the Roman helms. But I think just concentrate on making onagers, concentrate on microing those onagers and making trade. And then, oh, big onager shots coming in right there. And then later on you can transition to Bogars potentially so that you have a pretty decent melee cav unit. We do see Elite Battle Elephant coming in from the Noodle box. The stables are being set up, but I don't think that she's got the gold or the food eco to actually make a very large amount of elephants, unfortunately. Surely here the M players could send some food and wood to Kekis to get back in the game. 100% they should. It looks like Kekis is saving for Imp, but he's only on 1 TC. Which is really bad. Like, he needs to have built... Oh, Socksyy calling GG. Okay, yeah, it's definitely not looking great in this position, and they don't have a ton of gold, so I understand the GG, but they were in such a good position 10, 15 minutes ago. I think that's a very unfortunate game, to be honest. I feel like they had quite a few opportunities to win that. They were just unable to push fast enough to actually punish the greed that Nos has. Still says rising... Oh, shit. Thank you. That means that said the wrong thing last game as well. AusDraft 2.0. Last series, I should say. Thank you, Timber. Well played in the previous series. Resigning 7 seconds before my SO. Oh, you really just wanted to flex on them with that, did you? Let me go get the rest of the Rex sorted out. Oh, yep, let me go find the save game folder. We'll jump out to the outside section, and in a second we will figure out which civs are played and who won, who lost, and how accurate we were. Saracens goes to frontline. Koreans goes to frontline. Bohemians goes to frontline, and yeah. See, I figured that these were not going to be played the way that people in chat were suggesting. The for me the big question mark is what in the world are you going to do with Teutons? It was not Persians. It was Bengalis. It was Romans. It was Italians, and then it was Slavs. Makes sense. Which means, does this become a Team Acropolis civ? So that you've got a Paladin civ? I guess that makes some sense. You've accidentally... No, that was deliberate. Because, we do not want to see any Vikings being played on any of these maps. So it's skulled out because we're not going to see it. Vikings are bad. Viking hater? Yes. Yes, indeed. I am not a fan. So those TA civs are still fine. Golden Lakes is fine. I don't know what you're going to do with Teutons. I guess you could potentially play Teutons like a Boomy civ on Team Acropolis. Where like maybe you do scouts into Boom, but that's sort of what you would want Goths to do. So I guess maybe these two civs could be slightly interchangeable. And you just have one of them be the scout into Boom into late game strong civs. I picked Vikings just for you, by the way. Yeah, I guessed that was the situation after our chat yesterday. And I assume that you're not going to play them as well, because, they are your last pick. Let's get rid of the skull load so that people don't get confused and complain. Yeah, I think that was honestly a really good game. I think that, as I said, I think Socksyy just needed to be a bit more, what's the word? Aggressive in early Imperial Age. You had so much of an army lead, but you were massively behind the bills. You just needed to break into the enemy base and use the big knight mass that you had to try to um, get involved, get some raids in, try to hurt their egos. Goth is for Golden Lakes. Everyone full stone walls, fish booms, and sling Goths. Yes, the Goth players sling stone walls. And everybody needs to fast him so that they can sling. Makes sense. I was late on the trade. That map runs out of gold so fast. Wasn't ready. Yeah, it's a really difficult thing to do. And then, like, the fact that Trace had the early stone walls in really good position allowed their team to just comfortably start to get the trade rolling behind their position, which was part of their build lead, right? They had 60 something trade, 80 trade before you started making any trade really. But we are going to jump into game number 2 now. Once again, we've got Team Noz versus Team Socksyy. For Noz, we've got the Bulgarians. Not really what I would have expected, if I'm being honest. Then we've got Noz playing as the Vietnamese, going for FC Radins, I would assume. We've got Trace as the Hindustani, he's going to do scouts into camels. And then the Humble Pie. Possibly scouts into cav archers, or maybe just FC cav archers. A couple of options there. G'day Kiko, how's it going? And then over for Team Socksyy, we've got the Keckers playing as the Teutons. I would assume it's just scout into Boom, because the lack of husbandry seems absolutely killer on a map that's this large and you're so far away from the enemy. You're just never able to really take a good fight with your knights. You're never able to get in a good position to help your teammates because you're always just so slow reinforcing. We then have Socksyy playing as the Franks. Definitely scouts to Knight Civ. Not at all what I expected to see here. So that means we've got Magyars and Huns as the two pockets for Golden Lakes if we get to Golden Lakes. We then have Noodle with the Kajaras. and then Brady with the Goths. Like, the big thing that stands out to me is that there's no Archer Civ on Socksyy's team. None of these Civs ever want to touch a ranged unit, except for maybe Chakram throwers for, and I guess SO as well for students. Chakrams for Kajaras, and SO for students. Ugh. I am not a massive fan. It looks like the Noz is going to go for a dock on the pond. I do like this. Who needs archers when you have TTK and Huskars? Oh, you have a good point. I do appreciate seeing a solid, dock in the middle play. It always makes me happy. Sheep is currently blocking his woodline though. He has done Loom though, so he's going to set his eco back a little bit, but then he's going to make up for it with the added fish. We don't see any sign of players going forwards for a dock yet from Socksy's team, so it's unlikely that's going to happen. River, my hero. Oh! LC River, my fan. I guess Franks could make Throwing Axeman. I guess that is technically a ranged unit as well. But, I don't think it's the best. I feel like you almost want to do, like, forward shenanigans. Oh, Noodle's getting housed. That's unfortunate. She built the lumber camp before making a house, which is really annoying when you're going for a mill first strat. Yeah, like, because you've just got all infantry and cab civs. I feel like you need to be incredibly aggressive, because as soon as the Tatar player gets, like, 30 or 40 CA, I don't think you're ever really going to be in a good position. Just littered the map with crenellation castles. I mean, I guess it's possible. Yeah, these civs are definitely not how I would have expected it to play out. But to be fair, Team Acropolis is their home map. They've drafted these civs for their home map, so they have a plan for it. There is something cooking here. They're cooking something in the books. It looks like we've accidentally taken the wrong boar from some people. And Socksyy just lost a villager trying to lure a boar to Noodle. I guess Noodle started complaining that she can't click up. I wonder who's taken the extra boars is the question. I mean, Socksyy there, doing the ultimate team thing, losing a villager so that his teammate can get a extra boar. I do want to go just skip back a bit and find out who stole somebody's boar. That boar and that boar are for Brady. This boar and this boar are for Noodle. I guess these two boars are for Socksyy, and then these two are for Kekkers. Yes. So Kekkers has got 3 boars. And then Socksy's taken this one as well. Rough. You took it. Feels bad, man. Not communicating about the ball positions. It always hurts when that happens. Socksyy is up to feudal age at a solid time. Going to get his scouts rolling as the Franks. We see the same for the Tatars. So we're going to see scouts into CA instead of just straight CA. And then we're seeing scouts also from Sneaky Salmon. Makes quite a bit of sense. So that means we're going to see Hindustanis just go FC camels, I guess. We did, but you took it anyway. And then you tried to take it back. That's unfortunate. And then Nord's just going to do FC Radens backed up by the Fishiku. Okay. The walls, they're slowly being set up. I'm not exactly a huge fan of Humble Pie taking this forward wood line, though. Because, it's just going to overchop at some point and then be very, very vulnerable on the front side. But I guess Trace has taken the best wood line that Humble Pie otherwise had access to. Like, Trace could have been taking this wood line here and then walling in front of it quite easily. Noz, though, and even Sneaky Salmon is taking a bad wood line. You always want to take the center wood lines to begin with, so that you don't have the risk of an overchop. Like, there's so many sexy, nice wood lines here that Sneaky Salmon and Noz could take. And honestly, even Trace could, like, get over here and take one of these if he really wanted to. We see Socksyy, though, getting a sneaky scout kill right there with his feudal age scout. Trace has not finished the walls just yet, but there is no supporting army just yet here to help out. If Trace is oh, he doesn't have loom. Did Socksyy not realize? Socksyy could have killed that Vil because he doesn't have loom. Oh, you greedy bugger, Trace. Oh, Socksyy just must not have noticed. He must have assumed that it's a loomed Vil because oh, that is unfortunate indeed. Unfortunate. We see that Noz is actually going for 6 fish. And he's trying to... I don't know what he's trying to do with that. I think that 6 fish is honestly a little bit of a overreaction. I mean, I guess it's a pretty decent pond with 4 deep fish and there's no enemy docks. So there is a lot of food to take. But, oh, you were scouting for the dock? Yeah, makes sense. I always just worry that too many fish is just a waste of wood, basically. Especially on a map where you're very often struggling for wood because of the tiny wood lines. Oh, Trace's not even walling the back of his base. What a greedy boy. You know, saving that little bit of wood, and then also you make the fish more efficient for longer because you don't gather the food as fast. Which is, you know, a little bit counterintuitive. Because generally you want to gather things quickly, not slowly. But in some respects, it is a benefit. And we see there's very soon going to be the overchop that I was talking about there for Sneaky Salmon. Humble Pie already overchopped and he just built a bunch of houses to mitigate that fact, and then building another stable here. Another lumber camp, which will be overchopped very quickly, because the stable is not actually touching this wood line. Yeah, Kajara Camel Scout is always a bit of a pain. But it looks like... Noodles going to go FC. And then Kekkers is sending villagers all the way down here for some reason. I'm not sure what's up with that, to be honest. Socksyy's now being the greedy boy, not walling at the back. Almost the entirety of his team is full walls, except for him. Captain is just slacking right there. And Kekkers just must have misclicked or something with these villagers, because they were like wandering all the way down to the corner for no reason. There's a nice res distribution for Noz in the bottom corner. A couple of boars, got some gold, got some berries. I mean, it's nice, I guess. It's not too bad. I think that contesting the golds in the middle is obviously going to be far more impactful, though, as the game progresses. We see the first players starting to click up the Castle Age. Trace, who does have the stable. One message was deleted by a moderator. Why did Nightbot do that? You thought it was stone, not berries. Yep, understandable, makes sense. That feels bad, man. I need to go have a chat with Nightbot later and figure out why he's being a bad boy. Another team, though, they do have a 10 build lead already, but, you know, most of that are these fish. I just wonder what's the follow-up going to be? You've got 2 players making scouts. You've got the Goths who are just going to FC boom into Huskars, I would assume. And I guess Noodle's going to make some camels in Castle Age, which makes some sense. Especially if you know that the Hindustanis is also making camels. You just want to sort of try to match that. Maybe you add in some shrimps if you're worried about the Rattans or the Cav Archers at some point. We continue to see scout fights happening all over the map, but honestly, the scout fights are absolutely meaningless at this stage of the game. Well, as long as everybody is walled and doesn't overchop like this, then the scouts are just a huge... Oh my lord, what are you doing? Where are you going with these fields? I guess you know that their army isn't down here, but they have so many scouts out in the field already that 2 or 3 scouts coming down here could absolutely wreck these fields, and they're just wandering out into the middle of nowhere. What is the plan, Mr. Sneaky Salmon? You haven't even scouted a wood line, and you're just wandering down here. My dude, just make an extra scout and scout for somewhere to build. We see a market now for the Humble Pie. He did build the house next to the stable to stop that overchop, which I don't mind. We see a forward castle from Noz in a reasonable position. You also get the Bodkin Arrow instantly. He's got eco upgrades on the way as well. Hold up. Why is there an extra set of berries? Did Trace just not take his berries and just randomly build a mill, and then he's saving the TC to TC the berries later? What the fuck? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Why is there an extra set of berries on the top of the hill? What in the world? That hasn't happened over here, has it? 1, 2, 3, 4. Absolute fucking cheats. Look at this. Look at this. That is hacks. Admin read, please. You didn't notice until Trace asked me why I hadn't taken my berries, and you said that you had. I mean, Jesus. Are there extra berries? I mean, yeah, there's many extra berries, but I assumed that they wouldn't be allowed to spawn on the top of the hill. Alright, they're scattered all over the place, along with, like, the extra deers and boars. That's just absolutely wild. Trace just has a good gaming chair. I mean... Honestly, this is, like, very unfair to have this, because it makes it so much easier to get your boom going, right? You can just delay making a bunch of farms and just eat these berries instead. Overclock's mousepad. I mean, okay. Noz is actually going up for 3 TCs very, very quickly. He's only just starting to make farms. He's almost fished... He's fished out all the deep sea fish. There's still tons of shore fish to go. He's adding fish traps? Noz, you greedy, greedy boy. I mean, I guess none of them are making ranged units, so it's not like they're really going to get sniped by cav archers or anything. So, maybe that makes sense. But, I mean, to be fair, I have added fish traps on Team Acropolis as well before, but more as a meme, not as, like, incredibly serious, because they're so incredibly vulnerable. We do see the Goth boom is getting underway. Noodle has also expanded with a TC. Socksyy is going forwards for a TC. Kekkers, though, is going 3 stable Truden Knights. And then going for a TC. I don't understand it. Why are you going... Why Trudens? I mean, the extra armor is kind of useful, but... I feel like the lack of husbandry should absolutely be punishing you later in this game. Another overchop on a woodline. We do see another TC being built out here for Mr. Sneaky Salmon. We see another basically useless scout engagement. I think really you want to try to keep the scouts alive for vision and not take silly fights. Right, like you have 1 or 2 scouts just sitting in the corner so that you know when they start to add markets. Maybe you keep a scout patrolling over here so that you know when they add a wall. Or when they start to come forwards with their army, for instance. But really, this game is... It's very passive, let's be honest. There's a couple of, you know, small raids coming in and out, but there's nothing too crazy going on. We do see the Cav Archer switch coming in. And Noz's team is actually investing quite heavily into army, while still actually matching them in terms of village count, which is pretty good. Watch Noodles TC. Ooh. Ooh. That is unfortunate. That is unfortunate. I think Noodle just deleted those vills, to be honest. Feels Noodle Man. We do see some camels coming in to try to clean this up. But we see the Radin Archers coming over to support the Knights. Going to be able to help make short work of those camels with their low PS armor. And that's just very, very unfortunate for Noodle there. But at the same time, Trace is also losing vills trying to build a TC. And he essentially stopped making army and was switching into a full boom mode, and then now is punished for it. He's also getting up early stonewalls to the middle, potentially going to lose a couple more villages here. Oh yeah, Socksyy is paying attention, look at that. They hit us with the damn karma, yes indeed. Well, Trace does actually react pretty quickly, get those vills away. Yeah, this fight should be a cleanup for Mr. Trace plus Humble. The Cav Archer's getting involved as well from up on the hill. Lovely, lovely Tatar bonus coming in useful there. Looks like the Knights are just going to go for a little bit of a roam and try to find any overchops, which we do see back here. And personally, this is why I really don't like adding extra TCs on the top of the hill. I mean, it makes sense for farm TCs, but you sort of just run out of wood lines, so the villagers don't really have anything to do after a while, which is really unfortunate. And the TC has been either destroyed or deleted, but now Noz's Radin Archers are just going to get cleaned up by knights, it seems. G'day, Akro. How is it going? Hope you're having a lovely time. Looking forward to casting the Rising Team sets on Sunday. Try to watch the Down Under gangs get involved. Try to win some matches. Make our way into the main event, hopefully. But the Vill lead is actually swung back the other way. Socksyy's team, I think Trace actually lost quite a lot of villagers there. He lost 8 Vills, Sneaky Salmon killed 6. But also just the big boom coming in from Mr. Brady. Almost at 100 Vills already, 40 TCs, adding a monastery and a uni. And I feel like Noz's team just hasn't really done anything to punish the Goth boom. We even see upgrades coming in. He's just about to click Imp. There we go. Is it live? No, unfortunately these are Rex. There were 2 matches being played at the same time a couple hours ago. So I casted 1 match live, and then we're casting the other match immediately afterwards as Rex. I like the attempts to get these big stone walls up, but if these walls aren't finished before Brady hits Imp, I feel like the Goth Flood might just absolutely roll through everybody. Where is the live ticker? I have no idea what that means. I'll be honest. Are these walls going to be finished? I mean, Trace still has a huge hole here. There's a lot of villagers coming out, though, from Mr. Humble Pie to get these walls up on the top side. Maybe they've figured, hey, the Goth player hasn't done anything all game. Maybe there is a Goth Flood coming in soon. The standings for both games at the same time. In theory, Liquipedia might have them. But it seems I'm the one who does the Liquipedia editing. That's probably not going to be the case, unless somebody else decided to do so. But yeah, and I also don't want to spoil the previous match too much, because some of the people who are watching might want to go back and watch that one afterwards as they were playing at the time. Imp. We do see Noz also on the way up to Imperial Age, but what are Ratton's really going to do against Goths? Assuming that Goths go into Huskarls. Does he have a castle yet? No, Brady does not have a castle, so we're not going to see Anarchy just yet. How much stone does he have? He's got a shit ton of stone. Like, he just needs to rush up a castle anywhere. Oh, he does have villagers forward as well. Okay. That makes a lot more sense. Get this castle up. It's still quite slow, though. He needs to research Anarchy as soon as he hits Imp, and then also get a couple of Trebs out to start pushing, I would guess. So he is actually wasting quite a significant amount of his lead. Like, look at how much wood, food, and gold he has, and he's just not making any single units yet. He hits Imp, and he has 0 army to show for it. Like, if this castle had been built back at his base, and then he still has almost enough stone for a new castle, right? He has this castle back here, defends his eco a little bit, allows him to get Anarchy nice and early, and then you come forwards with this castle, and you also have, 20 Huskarls or 20 Helbs already being created. I think that would be much, much stronger. Trace is trying to get these walls up on the side. It looks like they will probably finish, seeing as most of Socksyy's army has been hovering around this bottom side to make sure that Brady gets his castle up. But now they are swinging around to the top side. I guess they could potentially get in here and try to block this. But we do see Socksyy and Kekkers up to Imp at the same time. Kekkers doesn't have a very healthy Vill count, though. So it might be a little bit difficult for him to add in, or research Paladin, I should say. But maybe Brady with his huge eco should be able to sling him a little bit. Could be an option. Noodle, though, is actually pretty close to picking Imp as well. And so is everybody else on Team Noz, except for Humble Pie. Humble Pie is... He's got a solid Vill count. He's got an okay mass of Cav Archers. But yeah, he's just not anywhere close to having the food eco to click up. He's only got 7 farms. What in the world? How do you only have 7 villas on food when you've got 80 villagers? It's not even 10%. Definitely an unfortunate situation, and it does seem like this army on this side is just going to sort of roll through and start denying and harassing Trace's eco just as he wants to start clicking up to imp himself and start preparing for heavy camels. It seems like Socksyy's team is just outplaying Noz's team in almost every front. Because they haven't been punished for having one player. Oh, does he finish Elite Huskarls? Yes, he did. Very nice. He's going to make some petards just busting through the bottom side, it looks like. But they haven't been punished for one player making absolutely no army for 30 minutes of the game. And then they are still, you know, ahead in army and ahead in villages. With big raids coming in on the scary Hindustani player to deny them from getting into their big camel mass. Sneaky Salmon, I guess switching into the long swords makes a lot of sense as a goth counter. I guess that is a pretty good idea. Is Noz going to get the second layer of walls? No, he is not. The Huskarls are in. They're just going to dive towards this bottom corner, I would assume. Send some of them here, start finding these TCs, get up onto the hill and start harassing everybody's farm eco. Just dive as far and as deep into players' eco as you can. I mean, you maybe leave like 2 or 3 of them here to keep the gate open, or the hole open, I should say, but most of them just need to get involved as quickly as possible. The instant two-handed swordsman, though, is pretty nice, I must say, to be able to try to engage these Huskarls. The issue is that the Huskarls are much faster than the two-handed swordsman. If you're not paying attention and keeping them on the right track, you might just lose track of them. But, oh, the push on the other side is becoming a bit of a pickle. We see that Socksyy has Cavalier, Frank Cavaliers, by the way, expanding out, spreading out throughout players' economies. We see mass markets being built. And they do actually have a slight vil lead. No. Oh my god, my words are horrible right now. A slight army lead for Team Noz at the moment. Trace has got a decent number of camels, but they are 60 vils behind. But saying that, there's not a lot of walls just yet for Socksyy's team. But they do have a lovely, lovely forward position on both sides. Where did all these Huskarls go? Yep, they are starting to just roam into everybody's food eco. Just as everybody is hitting in, getting their upgrades, starting to set up trade as well. Whereas Socksy's team is instead, we've got Paladin on the way now for Mr. Socksyy. It's obviously very, very difficult to fight off against the Hindustani camels, though, when you are a heavy cav civ like this. I almost think the Chuden player should be doing Helbs instead of Cavalier, to be honest. Just like Helb SO, so you've got an option to fight the camels, and then SO against any ranged units that come nearby. But Mr. Humble Pie has lost a lot of villagers, and is still a very long way away from clicking up to Imperial Age. We see the forward barracks now starting to be added, though. Brady just hard pushing on the bottom side with Huskarls. Do we see the unique tech yet? No, we do not. We're not seeing the, I think it's 5 extra melee armor that the Bulgarian infantry get, which is just absolutely insane against an infantry civ like the Goths. But if the Huskarls continue to dive into the bottom corner, there'll be no trade being set up. We see camels coming in as well from Noodlebox to try to help out if there's any cavalry coming in to help out. And yeah, like, this is just the problem. Like, you've got 2 players making heavy cav against Hindustani heavy camels right now. Plus, they are being supported by the Noz with a big mass of Radin archers and some trebs to take down the castle. The problem... Oh, we've even got the camels swinging to the bottom side, which does make a lot of sense. The problem is... Well, they just zoomed down the wrong space. There are just a ton of Huskarls just roaming around the map, killing villagers. Brady with the 59-0 Eco KD right now, doing an absolute brilliant job getting involved with his Huskarls. The forward barracks is going to continue to be built. I love this. He should probably send like 2 or 3 of the vills and just try to dive to the bottom and try to sneak up some stables, barracks back down there. Because eventually the enemy will figure out this is where the barracks are and they will do something about it. But if you have some other barracks in different parts of the map, it's much harder for them to clean it up. And we also do see that Mr. Sneaky Tavern needs to get Caravan at some point. Oh, but he's not paying attention, and he is losing more and more vills. Look at the Eco KD for Brady. Just climb, climb, climb. Noz has also lost a bunch of villagers somewhere. I guess a bunch of these farmers and lumberjacks as well. Sneaky Salmon, though, has just lost an absolute ton of villagers right now. He's down to 65 vills. Most of which are his farmers that are dead, and to be honest, longswords, 200 swords, and they're relatively expensive in terms of, like, they cost a decent amount of food. They have got brigades now, though. So the 200 swordsmen will absolutely destroy any melee units that come to them. The problem is he just can't afford to make them. Brady is just hard killing the bottom side. The top side, though, is definitely looking like it's going to be a bit of an issue for Socksyy and Kekkers. As I said, we've still got 2 players making Paladin versus Hindustani Imperial Camels right now. Plus being backed up by Radin Archers and Cav Archers. But while this is going on, no one's really doing anything at all to support the bottom side. Which is just absolutely getting destroyed right now. Like, TCs have been taken down, the markets are being denied, there's barracks all over the place. Honestly, I wonder what the best unit would be. I still think that Kekkers should have been doing Helbesso instead of Paladin. But as he is the weakest player on Socksyy's team at the moment, it might be a little bit beyond him to be able to micro SO like that. Which is, I think, a reasonable... what's the word? A reasonable reason to not do that. We also need to see Noodle getting involved with the Shrivamsha and the Heavy Camel raids. The Eco KDs are just climbing, climbing, and climbing. The villager lead is 200 plus vills right now for Socksy's team. There is a big push coming through the middle though, but there's only 2 trebuchets to be honest. And it's not a very large amount of siege weapons to actually continue pushing beyond this. And yes, the Imperial Camels are incredibly powerful, but they are still shooting Paladin. They've got that extra bit of melee armor that is useful. And we could potentially see Noodlebox swinging over here with some camels of her own. But we just still see Brady's raiding, spreading out all over the place with these Huskars. The barracks are just continuing to be built wherever he can find space. And we see, fourth Nikki Salmon is down to only 35 vills. Well, it's going to continue dropping as well. And there's just so many Huskars that he can honestly just start to attack castles as well, potentially, and just take them down with melee units only. That is not walled. I'm not sure what these Huskars are doing here, to be honest. They are just walking into their death for some reason. The push at the top. Where are the camels going? And Noz is actually calling the GG now. They realize, hey, we just do not have enough villages, but there are! Trace was making a Cannongellion. I wanted to see the Cannongellion. And we do see the equalizing game now. It's 1-1. We're going to go into the final game of this best of 3 to decide who actually wins this series. Humble Pie has a lot of resources, but half of this was being spent on Imperial Age that was denied. Well, not just, it was cancelled when he resigned. Otherwise, yeah, Trace has a decent amount of gold. He doesn't have a huge amount of food. Noz is definitely running out of gold, though. The lack of trade is really painful at this point. I say lack. They've got decent numbers of trade cards, but it's just not really a safe investment, you know? Like, a lot of them are just going to keep dying before they get to drop off. That was a really impressive play from Team Socksyy. I feel like Noz's team just, I don't really know what they were thinking, to be honest. Because, like, they should have recognized that the Goth player was just big booming. Right, there was no army being made. He had a pretty high score throughout Castle Age, which does tend to indicate a booming player. And there was no real attempt to utilize the fact that all of their players were making army of some sort to disrupt or prevent him from just booming away. And then, I guess maybe if they had more forward walls, utilize the fact that you have, you know, so much army, so many players making army, you get forward walls across these front wood lines, so it takes a much longer period of time for them to push into your base. Vietnamese feels a bit sad when an enemy doesn't have any archers. Yeah, I definitely agree with that. That does make a lot of sense. And I was questioning the heavy infantry and cav focus for Socksy's team, but they managed to make it work there. We'll jump outside right now, and we'll figure out which civs have been used, and the wins and the losses. Hindustanis and Vietnamese, we got those correct. And Tatars. And then they used Bulgarians. I think the Bulgarian pick was pretty heads up, to be honest. I think that made a lot of sense because it gave them an option to counter the Goths in the late game. But then over here, instead of having Huns and Magyars, which I thought was a beautiful combo, where you have faster working cav archers, or faster working archery rangers, working for the Cav Archers from the Magyars to help the Huns, and then the Huns fast stables to help Magyars. Instead, they are both going to go to Golden Lakes, and then we had Franks, we had Teutons, we had Goths, and we had the Gajaras. So that means Burgundians are not going to be played. Magyars, Huns, Malay, and Portuguese. I don't mind that at all. I'd say for Noz's team, you probably get rid of the Malians and you use the Persians instead. And then we have the Japanese and Dravidians as really strong flanks. Need to get our walls up proper earlier so we aren't hemmed in defending. Yes, 100%. I think that because you guys had 4 players making army, you need to take as much map control as possible because of the investment that you're making in army, right? You were staying pretty close in terms of bill count with the other team, but they have one player with such a huge eco lead because they're just straight booming that as soon as they start playing, they're very, very hard to stop. And remember that I was saying that Brady was very, very slow getting his forward castle up, slow getting anarchy. Like, he could have been in your bases like 5 minutes earlier, almost, if he'd been a little bit more efficient in terms of getting his buildings up at the correct times. Which would have just made it so much worse. We will be going into game number 3 on the Golden Lakes. We just missed getting those walls in front of Trace. I mean, yeah, Trace did take a bunch of damage towards the end of Castle Age as the raids were coming in. And then we'll get into it. Where is the button? We'll go into Capture Age. We are going into game number 3, the deciding game. And we actually have Persians and Malians instead of Lithuanians. Noz, here as the Japanese on the flank, with Sneaky Salmon as the Malian pocket supporting him. Then we have Trace as the Persians on the other side, and then Schnecky down here as the Dravidians. On the other side, we've got Kekkers as the Portuguese, with Noodlebox as the Magyar pocket, Socksyy as the Huns pocket, and then Brady as the Malay. And interestingly enough, we do have a double contested pond situation. Where in theory we're going to have Noz docking up here, Brady docking over here, and then they fight over this pond. And then Schnecky and Kekkers do the same thing on the bottom side, and then both the teams' pockets share a pond and Fishboom together in the left and the right corners. The 2 relics in the middle do actually slightly favor Noz's team, which would have been actually quite useful if they had picked Lithuanians, because of course Lithuanians want to pick up their relics to get that extra attack bonus on their knights in Castle Age and Imperial. And then other than these 2 relics, there are 1 relic per pond that you need to build a transport ship to go and collect, which is a little bit of a pain in the ass sometimes, I will admit. We will just skip ahead a little bit to see what's going on. Oh, Schnecky gained a steal to... Wait, he's thinking about... No, he does steal. He steals 2 sheep, which is quite nice. And we see that Noz is very proactively scouting across the top side, trying to see if they can gank a scout going to build the dock, it seems. While his villager goes out to build the dock. On the bottom side, we just see red and yellow sitting down here with their scouts. They want to try to punish Grey if they possibly can, if he goes for a dock. 2 scouts versus 1. They need Teal to send... Where is Noodle? Noodle's scout is back here protecting her Dockville instead of helping out her flank. Over on the top side, oh, we do see the engagement starting. We've got 2 scouts versus a scout and a Ville. They trade off for blue scout. But then Sneaky Salmon does lose quite a bit of HP on his scout, which is a little bit unfortunate. We see here, we do have Loom. So Grey should not lose this villager unless... Oh, they've been, like, attacking 2 different scouts with the Ville and the scout. Oh, is this... Who wins? Oh, the Ville. The Ville survives on 2 HP. Honestly? Oh. Schneeky's dock is actually quite late. You lost a Ville while you were fighting there? Oh, that's painful. That is painful. Let's go back to normal speed, and there's quite a few things starting to happen now. Oh, and then Noodle's scout gets here just in time to escort the Ville the last little tiny bit of the trip. Oh, that's not where you're supposed to wall it in, my man. You're supposed to wall it in on this side so that you can take the fish. Giga Chad, yeah. That was clutch. If that villager had died, I think Kekka's would have been absolutely destroyed. It's fine. You had one bill of idle time. I mean, a lot of players have had quite a lot of idle time already, except for Socksyy. Socksy's the only one who's doing things pretty much perfectly, to be honest. He's got a really sick feudal age time coming in right here. I wouldn't mind seeing a second lumber camp. Oh, he's going to go do that now. Lovely, lovely, lovely. And Nos is going for a forward house. He has 2 lumber camps himself. Where are these vills going? What is this pathing to ye? They're just doing a fucking circle before they go back to where they're supposed to go? What? That was funky as hell. They were just going for a little bit of a detour right there. I'm honest, that would probably tilt the shit out of me if I saw that happen. But Nos is actually going for a barracks instead of a second dock. Maybe he's just decided, well, I'm against Malay, I'm never going to match his uptime. There's no point trying to contest the pond. I should just give it up and transition to land army. Brady, though, is a little bit late to gold, to be honest, and he's just going to rush up some stone walls while making a fire galley. On the bottom side, Kekka's uptime is very much not great. And he's also taking shore fish instead of deep sea fish. So, like, even just the delay getting this villager here, and the villager's not taking shore fish as well. Oh, that is not ideal. Yeah, making farms on this map in Dark Age is complete Titanic, to be honest. And it seems like Brady is just not even going to make any sort of army whatsoever. He's just rushing up stone walls to the middle. I don't like this play, to be honest. Because he's only got the 1 dock, so he's not going hard for Warsaw. And then he's rushing these stone walls, so he's not going to go hard for land. How much stone does he have left? He's got 0 stone left, so he can't even, like, finish the stone walls, is the problem. And if he does lose this pond, they can always just transport around or use fire galleys to kill the wall segments. And he's starting to make another fire ship. Nos is just sticking to the 1 fire, it seems. But even that 1 fire might be able to trade 1 for 1, seeing as he's just hard concentrating on killing the fish instead of trying to fight off the other fire ship. See, the Socksyy, though, does have an early scout lead, but we've got armor instantly being researched by Sneaky Salmon upon reaching the few lanes. You've got a second dock being added. Only the 1 dock for Trace. On this bottom side, Red is starting to open with a demo raft instead of a fire galley. I hope that this kills the... Yes, get around the top. Get around that. Yep. Oh. Oh, beautiful. Beautiful. Oh, and Nos is paying attention now. He's getting the repairs on. His archers, though, are a little bit wonky positions, to be honest. He's just sort of spread them all out in individuals, waiting for them to be killed. And we do see houses and then some stone walls going up. But this is a pretty significant weak point right there, that single house. But otherwise, the stone walls through the middle of the map are mostly set up, except for Grey. Socksyy, huge value in your base. Oh, boy, oh boy. These are scouts. I don't have any upgrades just yet, but oh no. How many vills has Nos lost? 5 vills already? What? And while this is going on, Nos is even, like, keeping track and scaring away this army on the front side. And the scouts live to continue fighting. Oh my lord. I guess 6. There's only 5, because he lost 1 vill to the boar. But now it's up to 6. I say that, but on the bottom side, Kekka's could get absolutely destroyed at any moment if Trace just commits to breaking a wall up here on the top side. The water contesting has begun now. We've got triple dock from Brady. And while this is going on, Socksyy is just going to go for a stroll, it seems, with his scouts. We also see a second stable being added by Sneaky Salmon. And they are starting to set up team walls. Maybe they recognize, hey, this team wall strat seems pretty solid. Let's copy what our opponent is doing. But seeing as Nos knows that he has lost the pond, he has to stonewall in a very inefficient way because he has to be worried about the landings at any point in time. And I think Brady is, yeah, massively over-investing in boats, to be honest. He should have started making fish already to sort out his economy. In terms of fish for the pockets, we've got 15 and 13 versus 13 and 18. So relatively even. But Noz is just absolutely dead at this point, to be honest. He's lost all of his fish. He's lost a bunch of fills on his wood line. So he can't really afford the farm transition, and he doesn't have the food income from the dock. So he should never really get to Castle Age at any sort of a good time. He does have a solid mass of archers, to be honest. We do see a second stable being added from Socksyy, but he's on his way up to Castle Age right now. Or he's just about to be on the way up to Castle. Purple is close to clicking up as well. Trace is not too far away. Red is even in a decent position, but Noz, never going Castle. Never, 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 never. We just see that Red has essentially won the bottom pond with a single fire galley. This 2 HP villager is still just chilling here. Red could be making a couple more fish quite easily. Instead, he's making farms. He doesn't quite get the memo on how to play water maps. You win water and then you make fish. But the huge gaping hole in the middle of the map is allowing Socksyy to potentially get more big value out of these scouts. Are we going to see a big dive into Trace's base? Trace is preemptively walling everything, it seems. Dropping a market, he wants to buy his way up to... buy or sell his way up to Castle Age, I should say. Yeah, the fish are not particularly efficient at the moment. They need to sort of spread themselves out and go for some other fish. You want to, like, manually micro your fish as much as possible, because sending, 18 fish to take this one tile is just horrible, because they just sit here bumping. You need to send, like, 2 or 3 of them to each of these fish if you're able to, so that they continue working for as long as possible. Right? You see, like, they all just drop off at once, and it's a big mess. It's a big mess. Red's... oh, Red's trying to do these walls, but he's still got this very, very annoying hole here. Now we see Purple and Yellow having to react to Socksyy's scouts, and they're just going to go dive into Red's base, it seems. Red's potentially going to just lose this entire wood line. Yellow's just turned around and gone back. Purple is not tracking this army whatsoever. They've got... oh, no. Teal and Green are meeting up in Red's base. Nope. Maybe. They're thinking about it. Green's now circling back. It looks like Red is trying to team with the enemy team. Yeah, yeah, exactly, right? Like, this wall here does absolutely nothing. Except for waste resources, really. But we do see the Teal scouts diving in here right now. They are fully upgraded scouts, except for Bloodlines. So I guess they've got armor and attack, that's all. But he gets a couple of hills. He forces a lot of idle time on the Lumberjacks. We see Light Cav, though, coming in plus, as well as +2 armor. But he is against Bloodline scouts. I think that Socksyy should just turn around and fight this, to be honest. Because as soon as Purple gets Light Cav himself, he should just absolutely destroy this. Because he has Bloodlines and... oh no, Socksyy has Bloodlines as well. What am I talking about? I thought it was Frank's for some reason. I mean, he just needs to fight it before Purple gets Light Cav. Is the be-all and the end-all. Noz still has okay numbers of archers. I guess he's lost a bunch of them somewhere on the field. Where is the KD? Yeah, not a great KD, but a lot of that is just villagers, to be honest. Noz, why do you have 2 bad farms when you've got space around your mill? Or your TC? That hurts me. That hurts me indeed. No one is actually expanding into the middle just yet. But we do see a lot more players in Castle Age for Team Noz at the moment. They are just a little bit behind in terms of the villager count right now. Red's Arch. Oh, this is actually quite unfortunate for Grey. Both of his golds are at the front of his walls, so he's unable to really defend that for the time being. He probably needs to build a tower, but he's... I mean, he does have the stone. He's heavily mining stone. Potentially thinking about a castle to secure the middle. And we do see Seeky Salmon and Trace going for TCs to secure extra gold income. And we also do have an extra TC at home on wood. And we are starting to see some fish traps being built. We see a bunch of fish that are just not working very well. Socksyy is also adding in the fish traps. Brady just has so many fire galleys patrolling back and forth. Oh, how did they get in? I guess there was an unbuilt bit of stone wall there, it looks like. And then the crossbows and the light cav are diving into his base right now. And unfortunately, Grey just doesn't have any land army. He's only got skirms, which are fine if you're only fighting crossbows, but not when the pocket is getting involved with light cav and knights. The stone villas are all idle now. Oh boy, that is a castle to build. I mean, it's a good idea. It's a good place to try to build it. It's just not really something you can afford to do at this point in time, when your entire eco is hiding in or underneath your TC right now. I think Grey's like almost defeating himself, to be honest, but he can't really do anything else with the villas. They're just knights and like have diving under his TC. I'm not gonna lie, I think that red and yellow should almost just continue going to pocket at this point. They've dealt so much damage to Grey already. Don't tell me that the castle... No, he's still got the stone. It wasn't destroyed. They're sitting under his TC and just killing all of the vills. Oh, that is just so rude. That is just absolutely horrible. And while this is going on, there is a bit of a big engagement going on here in the top of the map. We do see a significant lead for Mr. Socksyy. He's got a lot more knights out on the field. Only on 2 TCs though. We do see purple. Well, he tried to go for a 3rd TC, but it did get denied, it looks like. And now all of a sudden, woo! Noz is having a rough time right now. He's got a similar number of crossbows to Brady. Well, 19 of 29, it's not exactly that close. His opponent still has melee fish eco. He's essentially 1 TC forever because he can't afford to do anything, whereas we see that blue is adding a 2nd and a 3rd TC. Someone is more dead than me, let's go. Yeah, but the problem is that you're the captain in the team, and this is the weakest player in the team. They did manage to get up the stone wall there to prevent the knights from coming in, but there is a mining camp that could always be destroyed at any point. And now the crossbows and knights are just rolling around to try to attack Noodlebox. But, Noz's team has a very solid build lead, somehow. I guess it's mostly just the pockets being big boomers? 60, 50, 50? I guess it's mostly just that Grey is even more dead than Noz is. Like, Noz still has 45 vills, Grey's only got 18. So, like, that's 30 vills? 60 to... Yeah. It's almost entirely the fact that Grey is so dead that the score is looking... Or the vill count is looking good for Team Noz. Otherwise, I think it's actually not too great a situation. Like, all these crossbows are just going to get swept by Noodlebox's knights if she can get her knights into a good position to attack. Not exactly the best way to do that. But we just see Socksyy is also expanding into the middle with the TC. Teal is just building a mining camp. I don't think that's the correct choice. You need to build a TC so that you can be defended from raids. But Socksyy is just powering through right now. He just has a huge mass of knights, while Brady still has a big mass of crossbows as well, and it's looking kind of unstoppable here in the top side. Nobody is really close to going Imperial Age, so we're not going to see any big power spikes deciding this game. I think it's just going to be army numbers, and then who controls the middle. We see a decent castle coming up from Schnecky to defend these 2 TCs, defend the gold income, but Purple still hasn't built a TC yet. He is Marlians, so Sneaky Sam does have longer lasting gold, but you've still got far too many villagers trying to take gold right there. If Noz's team isn't able to get a little bit more middle control in the next 5 to 10 minutes, I think they might just fall over because Sneaky can't afford to keep making knights. Red has actually made a couple more fish now, which is pretty nice. Okay, we do see that Noz is trying to go build a TC towards the center. I do like that. Who else is close to building a castle? Brady can build a castle. I think that just a castle like right here, where his crossbows are standing right now, would be absolutely perfect right now. It defends his gold income, it sort of defends this TC down here, it denies this gold from being taken as well. A really, really key position, and gives you a position to push forwards into Noz's base from, which would be lovely. Trace also has the stone for a castle. Honestly, just like anywhere down here would be good to secure some more golds, so that Purple can get a TC up, but we see that Teal is thinking about it, but is not going to push on that side. And there we do see the castle, not as far forward as I would like to see, but is playing it a little bit safer. Guarantee that the castle goes up rather than potentially take a risk and see a doubt castle. We also see Brady going for a castle in a little bit more defensive position, but still a solid one to secure his TC. And it does also help out with defending Socksyy's TC still. Brady is actually getting very, very close to clicking Imp, but so is Trace. Trace is basically just about to click up. Yep, he is up to Imp now. Is the Cavalier timing? Cavalier and +4 going to be the difference maker? He has some fish traps as well, still taking some long distance gold. And Socksyy, unfortunately, not paying attention, just losing all of his gold income right there. Some crossbows just dive under his TC while he's busy taking this fight in the top side. Socksy's adding a market now because he's like, oh shit, I've got no gold. I've got a lot of food though. I can sell some food to keep up night production for the time being while I try to get forwards. I think that honestly his first TC is a little bit suspect. Like we see initial TCs from red and yellow, and they're much safer up on the top of the hill. I guess he could maybe try to go for this one, but that's probably yeah. Like Noodle takes this one, and then he takes this gold, and then it's a much safer position to be in. Or like even Brady, right? It's up on the top of the hill, and he's got the castle to help secure it. Trace on the way to Imperial Age. He doesn't have a very large army, is the big issue. And it actually looks like Socksyy is just trying to macro his way up to Imp. I do love this castle though from Noz. Again, we're just constantly bullying Socksyy, keeping him off gold so that he can't dominate and be a big hard carry from the pocket position. And really it's going to be a question of the Arbalest timing from Brady versus the Paladin or the Cavalier and +4 timing. Oh, and I love these two knights just patrolling and sitting on these two golds. Just as Socksyy heads that way, he's going to get denied, but maybe these knights bait away the knight first. No, the knight's just heading off someplace else. And we see actually both of the pockets on the way up to Imp. Socksyy as well has just clicked up. Noodlebox. She's not very close to clicking Imp though, unfortunately. Did you see all the knight raids in the Eco 2 earlier? It was brutal. I did not. Your Eco Kitty is actually pretty nasty. I'm assuming that some knights just wandered up from this way and got into your Eco, which, yeah, would be a bit of a pain in the ass, I would say. The army lead, though, and the Vil lead for Team Noz is actually starting to become a bit of a pretty pickle. They came into Brady's base as well. That is unfortunate. And still, like, Keckers is not part of this game. He's only got 45 bills. This goal is still being denied by, like, 2 crossbows. While Red just concentrates in the middle. So you're essentially playing a 3v4 at this point. I'm not really sure what can be done about this, to be honest. I guess there was maybe a point in late Feudal Age, early Castle Age, where Socksyy just needed to absolutely destroy Noz or Sneaky Salmon somehow. But I'm not really sure how you make that happen. And Noz has actually been doing a decent job at trying to stay involved in this game. He has still got relatively low Vil count, but everybody else is on the way up to Imp on his team. And we also see Paladin. Trace is just biding his time, being the safe play, really. He's not wasting his army, he's waiting for them to be at their max efficiency before you actually take an engagement. We do see Brady making quite a few trebuchets, though, to clean up these castles in the middle, try to get a little bit more access to gold. See a couple of random knights going for raids, it looks like, but nothing too serious at the time being. The important timing is going to be as... yeah, Paladin comes in for yellow and purple. Oh, sorry, that's Cavalier, not Paladin. As the Cav upgrades come in, and then Red eventually goes for R, but Red's quite far out of this. I feel like as soon as they have Paladin, and as soon as they have Cavalier, the two of them, they should just be diving. The Paladin tries to fight the Arbs, and then the purple Cavalier tries to fight Socksyy, and then all the Arbs and crossbows just get involved from behind. This was stressful. The classic, how long is Palar away? Yeah, I think well, there's just so much army on the screen right here. It's really hard to tell what's going to win, but I think that Paladin should be enough for Trace, but the score just keeps swinging back and forth as players are starting to hit Imperial Age. We also see coinage coming in. I guess Trace has a ton of food, maybe, that he wants to sling away, potentially. If you're going to take this fight, though, you need to get the rest of the team involved, Mr. Trace. Like, a bunch of Red's crossbows are not fighting. Most of Purple's knights are not fighting either. He does now get the Cavalier tech himself. The Trebs are doing a bit of Treb tennis. But yeah, just the power of Paladin. They're just such an incredibly population-efficient unit right here. Socksyy can't afford to do Paladin himself, because he's just going to lose. He has to keep streaming in Cavaliers to try to fight the Paladin, and I think that at this stage, the fact that Keckers is just so out of the game is the reason that this game is lost. It's just snowballed a little bit too far from him dying. The raids the rest of the team, and then just the faster Imperial Ages for the pocket getting Paladin is just too powerful. Marlian's also going for Farimba right now. But yeah, they've just completely cleaned the army. We've got 170 army to 50 for Mr. Socksyy right now. Oh boy, oh boy. Yeah, they're just going to completely deny all of the gold eco from Socksyy's team. If you can't make gold units, you're just completely dead. Huge fight fun to see. This map can really bring those. Yeah, I think Golden Lakes is a really well-balanced map, to be honest. Because contesting the ponds is incredibly valuable early, and the middle is useless. And then it sort of just starts to slowly switch from one to the other. As you no longer need the food eco, and the gold is more important in the end. Oops. Let's go back to that. And then also, like, the pit in the middle is still large enough that you can share it, you know, half and half, if you are in an even game. And then it becomes incredibly interesting where you're trying to raid around the tops and the bottom and fighting everywhere on the map. There was an admin decision for game 1. Admin decision in the Team Noszombie versus Team Socksyy set. Due to a boar being killed by Scout in Game 1 frontline, the game has been awarded to Team Socksyy. The result has been amended accordingly. Well, that's a thing that has happened. So that means that Socksyy's team wins. Okay. I was not expecting that, to be honest. I mean, I did see the Scout kill the boar, sorry, and it just didn't even twig in my mind that that was a thing. Well, I guess that means that we get to put the score up to 2-1.